Hey y'all. I wanted to real quick, just because I know a few of y'all have some last second questions about how you can help your child finish this scale model of the solar system project that we've been working on in school for the past couple of months. Just know real quick that there's three parts to it. There's the plan, which the plan is essentially the map that they have to uh, put together as either on their own or collaboratively with a partner. Then once they have their plan, they actually have to go out and record either a video or a series of videos kind of standing in the spots where the planets would be. And then the last thing, there's some additional questions that they can answer. And a lot of the students are just about done with the questions, but they're attached onto the Google Classroom assignment. So tomorrow being Friday, I'm just going to walk around and see who has them done and if they have any questions about how I can help out. So real quick, I just wanted to walk through just some how-tos. Know that we've, especially for the last 2 weeks, about every day I've given them in class about 20 to 30 minutes to work on it, either with their partners or to ask me questions about different ways that I can help out. So the tool that they need, and this is attached right on there, I've linked it on the assignment. In this tool it says build a solar system, and the idea behind it is they have to pick an everyday object to be their sun. And a lot of kids are picking a basketball, beach ball, soccer ball, whatever. But once they grab their object, they have to figure out what is the diameter, in other words, the distance to the center of it, some math connections with it. But let's say that their object was about 10 inches in diameter. They type it in, they press calculate, and then what it spits out at them, first off in inches, it tells them, well, if your sun was 10 inches through the center, then every other planet in the solar system would be this size, teeny, teeny, tiny. You'll see Jupiter is the only one that is larger than an inch. So, they have to, in their video, find objects around their house. It does not necessarily have to be exact, but pretty close as far as size goes, that kind of matches up these scaled down size of the planets. The next thing that they have to take a look at is the distance from the sun that these planets would be at this scale. So I'm going to show you real quick on here. And again, we've modeled this in class probably 4 or 5 times throughout over the past month. But I just wanted to show you how it works. So let's say that I wanted to add onto my map right here. I wanted to add the sun, and I also wanted to add the distance at this scale that Mercury is from the sun. So I'm going to go to this My Map, which all the students have been working on. I'm going to click the Add Marker. I'm going to drop it here on the corner, and I'm just going to call this the sun, and press Save. Now at this scale, at the scale of if the sun were 10 inches, Mercury would be about 34 feet away from the sun. So what I was having them do is they have to go up here, and there's this button that says Measure Distances and Areas. They start at the sun and they measure out to where it says 34 inches. If you can't get it exact, it's really fine, as long as it's not a mile down this way. But I'm just going to go ahead and drop this at 30. We'll get it at 33. Kind of double click it, that way it stays on there. Then I need to add another marker, drop it there for, and instead of calling it 0.4, we're just going to call it Mercury. Now, on each place mark, and this is what we've been working on there, each place mark needs to include all of these things on it. And this is what I've been working with the students on over for the past couple of days as they've been putting their maps together. And then what they'd have to do once they get that information, then they would have to add their next planet. So Venus at this scale is 64 feet. Earth at this scale is 89 feet, Mars all the way down to Neptune I told them they can add Pluto if they want. I think it should still be a planet, but science community disagrees with me. But anyway, so it ends up being about a half mile, which is 2,694 feet-ish at this scale. Obviously, if you were to shrink this down, it would shrink down that too. Anyway, so that's for the plant. What they then have to do once they have their plan made, they then have to go to these spots or the distance that's on their plans, and just go stand in those spots that are on their maps, little absolute location connection, and basically say, hey, at this scale, Jupiter is 784 feet away from the sun, and it would be the size of a grape. So that you could just do a short video for each planet. You'd have, with the sun, 9 videos altogether. You could do, and I showed them in class how to do this today, how to attach those videos onto each place mark, like my students did last year, and kind of hold it up and talk about it. Or you could just do one long video where it's them walking around or driving around to the different spots. It could be in 2 or 3 videos. It really doesn't matter. And those videos can be emailed to me. They could be put on YouTube. They could be attached onto the Google Classroom assignment. Really, as long as you can get them to me, that's totally fine. If all else fails and your internet goes down, but the videos are saved on an iPad, they can even bring that iPad to school that day. And that's really no big deal. I don't want that to be a major stressor about this assignment. So anyway, so once all that's done, just for the what did you learn and to give them a chance to do some reflection. A few students have already finished with the questions on here, but wanted to give them some follow-up questions to kind of reflect on their learning, make sure that they've got the content down that they need to be that they need to to master the 5th grade content for this year. So I've given them these 6 follow-up questions that they've been working on, and I've even given them some bonus ones. All right, so that's it. I don't want this project to necessarily be like a cookie cutter where everybody's project looks the same. It's one of the reasons why I gave them guidelines to getting it done, as opposed to telling them, hey, it must exactly have these things. For example, I found that they can add these little rings where you can see the orbits of the planets. But I use that as an example in class to say, like, hey, you don't necessarily have to have that. That's just another feature that you can add to your map. So long as they meet all the requirements on here, they'll get full credit for the assignment. All right. Any questions that you all have, please send me an email, and I'll do my best to answer it as best I can.